And he's not demonizing him anymore because we are all witnesses now. Tonight, Donald Trump posted that he had a good phone call with the mayor of Minneapolis, who Donald Trump has been calling a communist and attacking in the most unhinged Trumpian ways. But Donald Trump is making conciliatory public statements tonight about wanting to cooperate now with the governor of Minnesota and wanting to cooperate now with the mayor of Minneapolis because Donald Trump is running scared tonight. Donald Trump is in retreat tonight. And Donald Trump is running scared because we are all witnesses now. When we see the video, we become eyewitnesses. And if we watch all of the videos of what Donald Trump and his Border Patrol agents did to Alex Preddy, we then become better eyewitnesses than the people who would be allowed to testify at a murder trial as eyewitnesses because they were there on the scene. Some of those eyewitnesses were recording video at the same time, which actually distracts from what they can take in as eyewitnesses in that moment because they are also camera operators as well as eyewitnesses. Contrary to popular opinion and Hollywood portrayals, eyewitness testimony is not as reliable as factual circumstantial evidence is, like ballistics reports and autopsies, which are often the most solid evidence in any murder case. Professor Elizabeth Loftus's groundbreaking work on eyewitness testimony, including the books she's written about eyewitness testimony, have shown all of the human weaknesses that come with standard eyewitness testimony. An eyewitness might honestly believe someone was shot in the back, and another eyewitness might not be so sure. But if the autopsy shows an entrance wound in the back, then that is not just evidence, that is proof beyond a reasonable doubt of being shot in the back. And the autopsy is technically circumstantial evidence, but it's better evidence often than eyewitness testimony. Each eyewitness only has their individual angle on what they can see. But when we collect multiple videos of the same shooting of Alex Preddy, and we watch all of those videos, we become the best eyewitnesses to that shooting. We are all witnesses now. And eyewitnesses have a right to believe what they see. Eyewitnesses have a right to reach conclusions about what they see. And since we are all now eyewitnesses to two of Donald Trump's agents he sent to Minnesota, firing 10 shots into a man face down on the pavement and killing that man in a matter of seconds, we can all look at the video and conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that every shot fired after the first shot is murder. Not negligent homicide. That might be what the first shot is, because an analysis of the videos showed that an agent in a gray jacket removed a handgun from Alex Preddy's right hip and rushed away with that handgun. And immediately after he removed that handgun and stepped away, the first shot was fired into Alex Preddy's back, or the back of his head. And that first shot could have been because the man in the gray jacket said, "There's a gun." But the gun was already removed when that first shot was fired. So that first shot could have been a mistake within that space of interaction. And that shot fired less than 3 feet away from Alex Preddy very, very likely killed him. The autopsy will tell us. But what happens next on the video, as you will see in a moment, is that all of the agents, all of them, upon hearing that first shot, start backing away from the now lifeless body. They're walking backwards away from the body. And as they walk backwards away from the body, they fully reveal and are looking at a motionless body lying face down in front of them on the pavement with nothing else around that body. And they can all see absolutely no threat posed to anyone by that body, which is probably a dead body at that point. And that is when two, and only two, of those agents decide to continue to pump bullets into Alex Preddy's body. And that decision is murder. It is a decision, not a reflex. Each shot fired by law enforcement officer has to be a decision, not a reflex. Law enforcement officers are supposed to be trained to assess the situation after each shot fired to determine if another shot needs to be fired. There are several agents positioned around Alex Pretty's body, and most of them decide there is absolutely no reason to fire a gun while those other two agents are firing their guns. And the agents who didn't fire their guns, who knew there was absolutely no threat to their lives or anyone else's, those agents were right. And the killers of Alex Pretty were wrong. And that is what the facts before us right now prove beyond a reasonable doubt. We're going to show you now the 24-second video, a disturbing video shot from the angle that shows that the shots are still being fired as the officers have stepped backward, far into a safety zone. It is correct to step backward. That's where the safety is. And they have stepped backward into the safety zone, away from that man lying face down on the pavement, and two of them decide it's time to shoot him several more times. Here is that video.
They're doing too much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know?
The next video you're about to see, and take the time, if you care to go online and watch these videos again yourself. We're only showing them once. They go by in seconds. They're very quick. The action's very quick. You might want to watch it more than once to understand what you're seeing, or see the New York Times analysis of the videos that's available online. But this next video shows Alex Pretty trying to be helpful, not to Donald Trump's federal agents, but to the people in the area. Cars trying to pass through. Alex Pretty is directing traffic to those cars, trying to help out those motorists. And then Alex Pretty tries to be helpful to a woman with an orange backpack who is assaulted by Donald Trump's Border Patrol agents. That agent committed the crime of assault and battery. The agent you will see committing the crime of assault and battery against that woman, because that's what it is, beyond a reasonable doubt on that video, that is assault and battery. That agent is one of the killers of Alex Pretty. Keep that in mind as you watch this video. It begins with the crime of assault and battery committed by an agent who then goes on to commit murder. Alex Pretty, you will see, commits no crime. Alex Pretty tries to help the woman who has been assaulted. And then Alex Pretty gets assaulted. And Alex Pretty and the woman both fall to the ground. And that woman is alive today only because, as you will see on this video, when she's on the ground being assaulted by Donald Trump's Border Patrol agents, she does everything she possibly can to crawl away from the agent who is assaulting her and trying to hold her in place. And because she was successful in crawling as far away as she did from Alex Pretty and from that agent, she is alive tonight. Those 10 bullets would have been used to probably murder her too. Those 9 bullets fired at Alex Pretty after the first shot had probably already killed him. Those 9 bullets would have found her in that kind of shooting spree if she hadn't done everything she possibly could to get away from Donald Trump's federal agents who's trying to hold her in place. So watch Alex Pretty directing traffic, trying to be helpful. Watch the woman with the orange backpack get assaulted, illegally assaulted by that agent. Watch her fall to the ground. Watch Alex Pretty fall to the ground. This will go by in seconds, that action. It's very disturbing to watch. Here is that video.
Go. people. The is wrong with you? Honestly. What did you just do? What the did you just do? What the What the Oh my god! 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 The did you just do? The did you just do? He is Liz, somebody call the ambulance! Somebody call the ambulance! Somebody needs to call the ambulance! Somebody call 911! I can't believe they just did that! Holy Holy Just get come on! Come on! Oh my god, you people, man! You're killing us! Why would you do that? Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't believe I'm seeing this! I can't believe I'm seeing this! Oh my god! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come here! Come on! Come here! It is.
Oh my god! Chest seals.
That blurring was inserted in the video by the network to block the actual sight of Alex Pretty's body lying on the pavement there. And when you watch that video and the aftermath of the murder, the question becomes, why didn't they kill them all? Why didn't they kill them all? There were other brave people on that street who continued to record on video what those agents had done and what they were doing. You can see a woman in that video getting up very close to where the shooting occurred after the shooting. Why didn't they kill her? Alex Pretty didn't do anything more than what she was doing. Instead, those agents, after they've killed someone, after that, they've cooled down enough not to kill everyone in sight. After they've killed one. That's what it takes to get them to decide, oh, this is not a situation in which we have to kill anyone, including this woman who's coming up very close to us now with her camera. And in the end, you see her bending over in agony at what she has witnessed. Why wasn't she killed if it was legitimate to kill Alex Pretty? Remember, the presumption of innocence is only a theory, a legal theory. It is a legal theory designed to structure criminal prosecutions. The structure of a criminal prosecution is based on that theory of presumption of innocence. That's the way the process is constructed. And that, for example, is why there's no requirement in American law that the defendant must testify. In other countries, defendants do have to testify, but not here, because of the presumption of innocence, which binds absolutely no one other than a jury. The only people who are charged with observing the presumption of innocence at the outset of a criminal trial are the jury. The prosecutor doesn't presume innocence. That's why the prosecutor is there. The prosecutor presumes guilt beyond a reasonable doubt in that room and makes that case in that room. No one in the general public is required to presume innocence of criminal defendants or potential criminal defendants. No one in the news media is required by any judicial principle to presume innocence. But the news media, cowed by the phrase presumption of innocence and failing to comprehend it, ends up often softening language in coverage of what we can all see, because we are all witnesses now. Donald Trump's dangerously buffoonish FBI director, who was chosen as an insult to the FBI, said this:
You do not get to attack law enforcement officials in this country without any repercussions. You do not get to do that in Minnesota, LA, or anywhere else.
A planned Trump rally in Phoenix, Arizona descended into absolute chaos tonight when an estimated 20,000 protesters surrounded the venue, forcing Secret Service to evacuate the former president through a back entrance as chants of "Eck off and go away, Donald" echoed through downtown streets for over 3 hours. And this wasn't a handful of angry demonstrators or a routine protest that dispersed after speeches. This was a complete shutdown of a major political event by a massive, coordinated opposition movement that legal experts say could fundamentally alter how campaigns operate in contested battleground states. When local law enforcement declares a gathering of this size a public safety emergency, and major news networks broadcast live footage of a presidential candidate being rushed out of a venue while thousands of protesters breach security perimeters, you know something unprecedented in modern American political history has just exploded. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to reveal will shock you to your core. So what triggered this political earthquake in one of the most critical swing states for the 2024 election? The Trump campaign had scheduled a rally for January 25th at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, expecting a crowd of approximately 8,000 supporters in a venue that holds 14,870 people. Campaign officials had promoted the event for 2 weeks as a major policy speech on border security and immigration, topics that resonate strongly with Arizona voters in a state where immigration policy remains the dominant political issue. But something explosive was building beneath the surface that the campaign completely failed to anticipate. Multiple progressive organizations, immigrant rights groups, and anti-Trump coalitions had been coordinating for 3 weeks to mobilize protesters from across Arizona, Southern California, New Mexico, and Nevada. Court documents filed later that evening by the Phoenix Police Department indicate that organizers had planned logistics for transporting up to 25,000 protesters to the rally site, arranging buses from Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, Albuquerque, and Tucson. This wasn't a spontaneous grassroots demonstration or organic community response. Legal analysts reviewing the planning documents say this was a sophisticated, multi-state operation designed specifically to overwhelm security measures and force cancellation of the rally through sheer numbers and sustained disruption. The first protesters began arriving at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum at 2:47 p.m., more than 4 hours before the scheduled 7 p.m. rally start time. Phoenix Police Lieutenant Maria Gonzalez, who was commanding the security detail, later testified that the initial group of approximately 300 protesters established positions at all vehicle entrances to the Coliseum complex, effectively creating human barriers that would complicate crowd management once larger numbers arrived. By 4:15 p.m., the crowd had swelled to an estimated 3,000 protesters, and by 5:30 p.m., Phoenix police estimated between 12,000 and 15,000 demonstrators had surrounded the venue. The Arizona Department of Public Safety deployed an additional 200 state troopers at 5:45 p.m. when it became clear that local police resources were insufficient to manage the growing crowd. Secret Service protocols require maintaining clear evacuation routes for protectees, but sources familiar with the security arrangements say that by 6 p.m., all primary vehicle routes to and from the Coliseum were blocked by protesters who had linked arms and sat down in intersections. This created an immediate crisis for Secret Service agents responsible for Trump's protection, because their contingency plans assumed they could move the motorcade quickly if security was compromised. And here's where the situation becomes exceptionally serious from a public safety and legal perspective. At 6:23 p.m., approximately 37 minutes before the rally was scheduled to begin, Phoenix Police Commander Robert Walsh declared the gathering an unlawful assembly and ordered protesters to disperse. Arizona law defines an unlawful assembly as a gathering of 3 or more people whose conduct creates a clear and present danger of imminent violence or disorder. But the declaration had virtually no effect. Court records show that fewer than 100 protesters left the area after the unlawful assembly order was announced. The vast majority remained in position, with many protesters chanting, "We're not leaving," and "Shut it down," in coordinated waves that witnesses say could be heard more than half a mile away. Video footage captured by news helicopters shows the density of the crowd surrounding the Coliseum, with protesters packed shoulder to shoulder in every direction from the venue. Former Secret Service agent Jonathan Martinez, who spent 12 years on presidential protection details, analyzed the aerial footage and concluded that the crowd density and positioning created what he described as the most dangerous scenario I've encountered in protective operations, where the protectee has no safe egress route and law enforcement cannot effectively control the perimeter. That assessment becomes critically important for understanding what happened next. Smash that like button if you're seeing how explosive this situation became. The Trump campaign faced an impossible decision at 6:35 p.m. Inside the Coliseum, approximately 6,200 Trump supporters had already entered the venue and were waiting for the rally to begin. Campaign officials had to decide whether to proceed with the event despite the massive protest outside, potentially risking violence between supporters leaving the venue and protesters blocking exits, or to cancel the rally and evacuate Trump, effectively handing protesters a major victory by demonstrating they could shut down campaign events through mass mobilization. According to sources familiar with the campaign's internal discussions, Trump personally insisted on proceeding with the rally, arguing that cancellation would embolden protesters and create a precedent where his campaign events could be disrupted by organized opposition. But Secret Service had final authority over security decisions, and at 6:41 p.m., Special Agent in Charge David Thompson made the determination that the security situation had deteriorated to the point where Trump's safety could not be guaranteed if the rally proceeded. The decision wasn't based on the protest itself, but on the specific fact that evacuation routes were completely blocked and emergency responders could not access the venue if violence erupted. Phoenix Fire Department had notified Secret Service at 6:38 p.m. that fire trucks and ambulances could not reach the Coliseum due to the crowds in surrounding streets, meaning that if there was a medical emergency or security incident inside the venue, first responders would be unable to provide assistance. What happened next will fundamentally change how political campaigns operate in hostile territory, and the implications are absolutely staggering.